turd from behind.
Hi, and welcome to the Dingers Podcast, episode 41. This is your host, Mitch. I'm here with my boys, Kevin and Jeff. How are you guys tonight?
Not bad. How are you two doing?
Not too bad. Just got done with a Little League baseball game. Fortunately, I haven't been able to watch any of the current baseball game. Here it's going well, though.
Is you a little old for Little League, Kevin?
No, I love to just throw heaters, high heat, at these little kids. Just get them a step off the plate.
Dust the 8-year-olds off and throwing them something up and in.
Yep.
When you ask that, I always think of watching the Benchwarmers movie, and they're like, "How old are you?" I am 12, and he has he's like, "Where's your birth certificate?" It says written on there, "I am 12" in pencil. Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun game to watch tonight. We're recording this on Monday night. The Cubs are hosting the Washington Nationals, and Johnny Lesta is on the mound, and we got Schwarber, we got Davey Martinez, we got Starlin Castro, all returning to Wrigley Field. It's been a fun, bittersweet night. It's like you're kind of reminiscing of all the good times that you had with Lester, all the great times you had with Schwarber, and Lester was the difference in the culture change, and that signing changed everything with the Cubs. And I mean, it's great to kind of see and watch this tonight of them loving on him and just paying respects to what Schwarber and Lester did for this organization.
I could have done without the Schwarber Hober.
Yeah, the Schwarber dong was a shot. He got Elzalay pretty good on that one.
Ooh. Did they play a tribute video for either of them? I know they talked about it.
I think they did maybe before the game. They stopped the game and did the whole thing of standing ovation. But you were telling Kevin right before we got on about that. Where did John Lester park his car tonight?
Oh yeah, the Cubs players parking lot.
He went and parked there. It would have been great if he would have parked in Ross's spot.
Oh, that would have been good. Yep.
And it was great to see Rizzo coming to the field in a Lester jersey and just paying that respect. The guys know what they've done, what they mean, and it's been fun to watch tonight. Just them interacting. Lester hit one to Rizzo and got out and told Rizzo, "I hate you." So it's fun. It's even funner than now that the Cubs are up 5-3, and hopefully they can hang on to this lead. This episode is presented to you by ChiCitySports.com. If you're interested in all Chicago sports, this is your place to go, ChiCitySports.com. Go check it out. We have great podcasts on there, forums, blogs. Go check it out for all your Chicago sports needs. So this week, let's get a review there, Kevin.
Yep. So this week, Cubs played a 2-game set against Cleveland. Game 1, Cleveland won, unfortunately, 3-2. But Alzolay pitched 6 innings, got 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks, though he did give up 2 homers. There was an ugly inning there in the second where they scored a run early and it looked great. They got the bases loaded with no outs, and they didn't even score a run.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of. And speaking of part of that process, Vargas struck out, and he struggled a bit. But did you guys see that the Pirates claimed Vargas off the waivers?
Maybe he was a virus. Let's slip of the tongue. Yeah, I saw that they tried to squeak him through and get him down to AAA, and yeah, the Pirates picked him up off waivers. So.
Yeah. Do you think there's any issue with the Cubs losing him? Or is it just paved more of a way that Horner's just sticking with the big club?
I mean, it loses a little bit of flexibility with the infield and having a little bit of depth. I don't think he provided much where he was going to be a long-term starter. So he was just, it's a little bit. And they have Alcantara down in AAA that can probably fill the same role. So I don't see it as a big loss.
That's true, and the voice of Cohen was very high on Alcantara.
Yep.
Sergio
Alcantara.
I think it was yesterday. I think he was a player of the game yesterday.
He went 3 for 4 or something like that.
3 for 4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. I don't know. We're kind of jam packed full of middle infielders. So
right.
we can lose one here and there. It's not like we're going to lose an arm and a leg.
Yep. Game 2 of that set, Cleveland won 10-1 in the 10th. Davies pitched 5.1 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. That game seemed to be the game of let's get a ton of base runners and then never bat them in.
Yep.
Right.
And it stinks.
15.
It stinks when you finally have a really good outing. Like it's been back-to-back outings of Davies pitching well, and then he doesn't get any run support.
Right.
And yeah, that hurts. So
terrible.
Then
horrible.
It is. Then we had a 3-game set against the Tigers. Cubs won the first one 4-2. KB hit his 10th dinger. Arrieta, unfortunately, he went 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 1 K. And he was cruising, seemed to be looking pretty good, and then he gave up 2 back-to-back home runs before he left the game. But in the 9th, Kimbrel struck out all 3 batters.
And that was his first time in a game in like 10 days.
Yeah. Yep.
And so he came out just throwing gas.
It was nice to see.
Yep.
Throwing laser beams.
The next day, the Tigers won 9-8 in extra innings. Again, extra innings. Second game in a row.
Extra inning rule.
Right. Yeah, now we hate it. It was the second game in a row where Rizzo roped one along the foul line for a double. Did you guys notice that?
Yep.
KB, on that play, KB went from first to score. Really loving seeing all that aggressive base running.
Yep. And you saw it again on Sunday with Hap. That's their MO this year of taking extra base, and so that was good to see. They're keeping that up.
I'm loving it. Unfortunately, there was a lot of I call them ticky-tack singles and doubles. Weird singles that are just finding the right hole, or they're getting knocked from the pitcher to an empty spot where there's no fielder, and just kind of stuff like that. And in the end, they walked it off on Kimbrel.
Which you can't really fault Kimbrel. I mean, I would hate to be the closer getting put in those situations where a guy gets on second.
Right.
He did give up the 2 runs, which then pushed them over for the win. But I really wish they would have got that one from the Tigers because they're right there with the Pirates as being some of the worst teams in baseball. But they do have Miguel Cabrera, and he got a nice moved a guy over to third and set up the tying run. And then in game 3.
Game 3, Cubs 5-1 versus the Tigers. Hendricks looked amazing. 8 innings pitched, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 8 Ks. And kind of to end it all off, we had Happer hitting the Oppo dinger from the right side of the plate. And Jeff has a little more on Mr. Ian Happ.
Boy, I bet we all hoped that Ian would have started off the year, like on a good clip. Didn't happen. There's like the struggle bus, and he didn't have enough money to get off the struggle bus, so he had to just keep riding it for a while. And then Cincinnati, he goes 3 for 5, and then he collides with Nico Horner and winds up on the DL for 10 days. Which I don't know what you guys think, but I kind of got, I thought in that Cincinnati game might be like the beginning of him heating up. And I thought, well, maybe he'll miss a couple games and come back and be all right. But then they put him on the DL because I think during a pregame, warm-ups, he tried, running and, couldn't do it. He felt a lot of pain, so they decided to throw him on the DL. So I didn't know what was going to come back. Is he going to be struggling again, not hitting? But he looked pretty good after Friday's game. I know on Friday he struggled in the game, but then – yesterday he had another big 3-hit game. Mitch is throwing up some of his stats for you at home. You're watching this on the live stream. If you'd like to pick through all the statistical categories that the analysts have come up with for you to measure a player's performance. I know I get confused by a ton of them, but Happ has historically been a much better hitter from the left side of the plate. So whenever you see him striking the ball with authority from the right side, it makes you think he's locking it in. Like currently, before tonight's game, he's at like 183 with 309, 301 slash through 28 games. I don't know. Tonight I watched him hit that double, the ground rule double, and that was from the right side of the plate, and he took that oppo. So I feel like he's getting more comfortable in the batter's box, and I don't know if he's feeling better on the right side. Sometimes switch hitters are better from one side of the plate than they're not like equally as good on both sides. And I'm just wondering if the awkwardness of being in the right-hand batter's box is helping him out. What do you guys think?
He's typically been a way better hitter from the left side. Leading up until yesterday, he'd only had 2 hits all season from the right side. Now, he hasn't had a lot of plate appearances from the right side, but he's only had 2 hits the whole season. And his last homer from the right side, you have to go back to August 17th of 2020. So, I mean, that's just he has been struggling. I think just his swing's a little bit off, and it's been off from the left side mostly. It's been a little bit long, so maybe he does have a little bit shorter of a swing from the right side, and maybe this batting from the right side is allowing him to see the ball a little bit better, put the ball in play. So hopefully he can carry that over when he does see a righty pitching probably tomorrow, that he can step in that left-hander's batter's box and get some hits and kind of string some together, because we need Hap. Last year he provided so much offense. He was probably the best offensive player we had last year. And if he could get hot with who else we have hitting the ball currently right now, like that's something that we need in this offense, and we need to see it.
It's pretty amazing how, like the top of the lineup is heated up, but yet then there's guys that are hitting in the back of the lineup like Duffy and Hayward. They're kind of consistently hitting pretty well. So, I mean, and then Haps, I know, at the back of the order right now. So, I mean, everybody's hitting the ball. Everybody's going to be a tough out. It's fun to watch that.
Yep.
I don't know. Oh, I'm a golfer, and I'm a right-handed golfer, and occasionally at tournaments you will be handed a left-handed club, and have to tee off with it. Most awkward thing in the world. Like, I hate that hole. Can't do it. So I don't know how baseball players can.
What kind of golf are you playing? What tournaments are you signing up for?
So it's like a lot of it is like benefit outings. They always have like different shit on different holes. Like they'll paint a big circle in the grass, and okay, so on this one you got to tee off with your pitching wedge and try to land the ball in this big painted circle. Great, here's $5. I'll shank it because I'm drunk. But there's always a left-handed hole, and I hate it. It is.
I think Hap golfs right-handed. Yep. So he's a right-handed golfer. Maybe like that's more of a natural swing for him. I don't know. He seems more natural from the left side than right.
I mean, yeah,
his swing is prettier.
I mean, there's so many more right-handed pitchers. We're going to see him on the left more than we see him on the right. And what blows my mind is our former leadoff guy, Dexter Fowler, taught himself to be a switch hitter in the majors.
Right.
So I don't know if you guys noticed when he would ever enter the batter's box and he'd go to the left, he would always take his bat and like draw in the dirt. That was like stuff that he did to make sure he was standing in the right place in the box where he wanted to be. Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see some more Javi from the left side.
Yeah,
just love that approach.
We're only going to get that in blowout games, but
blowout games and only against position players who pitch.
Right, but no, I think he's kind of figured some stuff out at the beginning of May. It just sucks that he had to hit the DL for 10 days and heal up, but I don't think he lost too much of it.
Yeah,
and I think he's heating up.
Yeah, I think he's going to start heating up. He got a nice hit today. Horner's taking a little bit longer. I feel like he kind of lost a little bit of he was hot before getting injured, and he's done all right in the field. He hasn't stung the ball like crazy. He hit a nice liner, but they had him positioned perfectly tonight. So hopefully we can get.
He was more like wrist, right?
Yep.
So I'm wondering, like Jock struggled with that wrist tendonitis at the beginning of the season, and I'm wondering if Maybe Horners just needs a few more days.
Yep.
Yep.
The other bright spot we have going for us, and this is something that I've wanted to kind of talk about, just we have Jake Arrieta back. We have Alec Mills. We have Hendricks that have been there for a while. Hendricks pitched really, really well on Sunday. That 8 and 2/3 was the long, or 1/3 was the longest outing a Cubs pitcher has pitched this year. And so he had a good outing. You see all this, but there's a new wave of Cubs pitchers coming through the system. And Keegan Thompson, like that dude continues to impress me. He was drafted in the 3rd round in the 2017 draft out of Auburn. His career with the Tigers, he had a 2.46 ERA, and his fastball was sitting at 93 to 98 there. And so currently right now it's sitting at like 94. I think they're trying to slow it down to kind of work some tunneling with his other pitches. But he's not a high walk guy. And you can see right away with Keegan Thompson that Ross trusts him, that Ross is putting him in situations in big games to pitch and make outs. And just watching him, you know who he reminds me of? Josh Beckett. He reminds me exactly of Josh Beckett. He has the same curveball. He has a nice cutter, probably one of the better cutters in the league right now. He has a good fastball that he can command. He can command all of his pitches. He reminds me of a young Josh Beckett. And I remember Josh Beckett very well in 2003 coming in with the Marlins and just shutting the Cubs down. And then going on to win the World Series, going on to the Red Sox and dominating, then moving on to LA. He reminds me, he looks a little bit like him, has a little bit of demeanor like him. I'm so excited to see Keegan Thompson's success and what we have going forward with him. Alzolay. I mean, Alzolay is probably a 1 or 2 in the Cubs rotation's future. Like I don't see him necessarily, maybe he can develop into a 1. I see him more as a number 2 guy. Keegan Thompson, I see him as a 2-3 guy. We're still waiting for that Cy Young level, and that might be a Braylon Marquez. That might be Abbott. But these young guns that we have coming up that our system has brought up. For so many years, we've heard the Cubs system can't produce pitching. And here we go. Now we're seeing it. Now we're seeing these guys come up through the system, and they can throw gas. They have good stuff. And they're learning to be pitchers, and I'm excited to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, before the season started, I didn't even know who this steel kid was or Thompson. It's nice to see that people we've drafted in the pitcher position that they're actually developing and getting ready to make a splash.
Right.
I mean,
we spent so long trading for pitchers at the big league level instead of developing them.
Agents like Lester was the big free agent signing, and that was a huge one. It was $155 million, and the guy couldn't even throw it over to first base. And then we picked up Yu Darvish, which was a ton of money, and he didn't play for like a season and a half, and then he finally decided to start pitching. So, I mean, some of our free agent signings have cost us a bunch. So, we got some affordable pitching going right now that's starting to get good. Mitch, stop watching the game. I see you.
Got Horner on third base.
Yeah, did you guys finally see it? Because when you put up whatever you had up to show everybody, I watched him go first and third on a wild pitch and a bad throw.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if go ahead.
My thing would be like, do we, the Cubs, move Keegan Thompson out of the pen and put him in a starting role? Like, and is it over Williams? I mean, look at Trevor Williams' last 3 starts. His last 3 starts, he's pitched 2 1/3 innings total. He's allowed 11 runs, earned runs on 15 hits and 8 walks. Like, that's not good. And he hasn't had command. And that's against the Tigers, the Pirates, and the Reds. So,
I'd say you maybe send him a couple of starts so they figure some stuff out and give Keegan.
I mean, might have a IL incident where he needs to go to the injured list. Like
Alec
they make up
Mills.
these things all the time. Like I don't know. Like I would love to see Keegan Thompson. He had his start against LA and pitched 3 innings and did really well. And the moment wasn't too big for him. I would love to see our young pitchers like him and maybe call up Abbott and give them a chance in these big spots in the regular season to get a chance. Just give them a chance. I'm excited about the future. Yes, I love seeing Arrieta pitch. I love seeing Hendricks pitch.
Well,
but when we have Trevor Williams, it's like I like him. I like his story. Yeah. But I think he could be a real good long guy in the pen. I think he could do that. I think he could fill that role. If Mills actually is hurt, that Keegan Thompson could get his chance and we can kind of start seeing the future of our rotation come this year.
I agree. And something with Williams too is we do the Cubs do have a couple of minor league options on him. So if they needed to send him down to go get his command back, then you throw in an Abbott start, or you even piggyback him, do a Thompson Abbott. You know, the game plan of the 3 innings for one, 3 innings for one, or whatever, and see what you got. Let them kind of go to town.
The one problem I think that's hurting Thompson is that he is somebody that Ross trusts in the pen right now. You can see that he trusts Steele. He trusts Thompson. He has other guys that he trusts too, but he knows that Thompson pitched in the 10th inning a couple times. Steele's pitching the 10th inning, and they've done their job. So I think Ross has some trust.
Yeah, I think he's one of those few guys where he could just call him to come in and pitch, and it's not like he's juggling 3 names or flipping a quarter over there and saying, all right, well, maybe I'll give this guy another shot and see what happens. And then next thing you know, we blow a big lead. The game's a lot closer than it should be. Yada, yada, yada. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see him get his chance. And it might be sooner rather than later after if we start making trades. He might get thrown in as a starter. You never know. Davies might figure it out. They might trade him, and then there might be a spot open. I don't know. I just want to see more of Keegan Thompson because I like his stuff.
Right.
I think his cutter works in this game. He has a nasty cutter. That he throws his cutter, he throws 41% of the time. His four seam fastball throws 32%, curveball 23%, and his changeup he doesn't throw very often. But like those 3 pitches work together very, very well. And he's getting a lot of swings and misses, especially the last game against the Tigers. He had some really big swing and misses, and so I would just like to see more of Keegan Thompson.
Me too. Throw the young guys in there. See if they can handle the fire.
We're basically paying $500 ball. I don't know if they're going to get hot and go on a tear or what, but I hope we're not sellers at the.
I want them to keep winning and make the front office make a tough decision.
Right. Yep. And as far as like if we're buyers, I hope us buying doesn't cost us some of these young guns.
Oh, I don't think that. I think they're not giving up anything.
I mean, I know we got a slew of middle infielders like we gave up when we got Aroldis Chapman, but God, I don't want to give any of these younger guys up that are going to be big stars someday.
Yep.
Nope, I agree.
Well, when we're talking about being sellers, we need to look at how we're setting up in the NL Central and where we're at. So, let's take a look at the NL Central and how we currently are. This is currently the records right now and where we stand. Do you want to kind of go through that, Kevin?
Yep. Yeah. So the Cards are leading the division. They're 23-18, 5-5 in their last 10. They've got a run differential of plus 14, which takes the cake for all of Central. And they're kind of right at where they're expected to be. If you ever look at the expected win-loss, that's something I was looking at a little bit. They're right where they are. The D-Gens from Upcountry, the Brewers, are 21-20. They're 2 games back. 4-6 their last 10. Their run differential is -16, which is not the worst we will see, folks. Their expected win-loss, they have actually won 2 more games than they were expected to win. So, and if they had lost those games, if they had followed that, the Cubs would actually be ahead of them. Then
Which
you got
crazy.
the
They have a run differential of -16, and they're still in second. They're winning that many games.
right.
Like most teams that have that big of a run differential, they're not winning those games. The thing is, they have 3 horses that every single time Burns and Woodruff are not giving up any runs, but they're not scoring any runs either. And so
Right.
their offense. And then when our friend Brett Anderson comes in and he gives up like 15, there's your run differential.
Yep, right there. One pitcher. Jeff, did you have something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Then in third place in the Central, we have the Dick Ballers, the Cincinnati Reds, at a perfect 500, 2.5 games back. They're 6-4. They've got a run differential of +2, and they're actually sitting exactly where they're expected to be. Unfortunately,
That +2 is because of Castellanos.
That's true.
And he's awesome.
Man, speaking of, did you see the antics this weekend?
Yeah.
Where fan for folks who don't know, fan in the stands yelled at Castellanos. Imagine the ball is Rob Manfred's face, and then Castellanos hit a home run, and then in the
immediately after it.
Yep, immediately after it. And in the post-game interview, they're interviewing Castellanos, and he didn't say anything, but they brought that fan over and interviewed him, and Castellanos just fist bumped him, and now the conversation is how many games is Castellanos going to be suspended for that?
which that might help the Cubs in the NL Central, so I love his antics even more.
Yep, it works. He's still secretly a Cub. In fourth at 3 games back, though hopefully cutting that down a little bit, are the Cubs at 19-20. They're 6-4. Their run differential is -2. And they're right where they're expected to be, win-loss wise. The Pirates are 17-23 at 5.5 games back, 4-6, and an amazing run differential of -44.
I wonder what it's going to be by the end of the year.
Right. I don't know if there's.
I'm surprised they're only 6 games under 500 with the -44 run differential.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When they lose, they lose.
Well, they've won 2 more games than they've been expected to win. They're expected to be 15-25, but they're 17-23.
The thing right now is nobody really wants this division.
Right.
And nobody's run away with it, which is great for the Cubs and where they're sitting. Nobody's run away and claimed it. Everybody's sitting, and you look across the MLB, and it's all kind of the same. There's a lot of teams that are like right here with these type of wins. And so nobody's really separating themselves. And so you're going to see over the months usually of June and July, 2 teams maybe kind of split away, or 3 teams kind of split away, and the other 2 fall. And right now, I don't want to see the Cubs to be those 2 that are down at the bottom and the other 3 rising to the top. Cream always rises to the top in baseball. We always say baseball is a long season, and by the end of it, we get who is the best team. That's why we play so many. So we can't take this little snapshot of where we're at currently right now and say that this is going to be how it's going to end up, where the Cubs are in 4th, Cardinals are in 1st. I still think that there's a chance the Cubs can win the Central. They can definitely win the Central. So I don't want to give up on them.
I like it.
No, I'm not giving up on them either. I think Sogard's wearing a sweatshirt underneath his jersey tonight.
So speculation time. Who do you think the Cubs will be fighting with to win the division at the end of the season?
The fucking Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals.
It'll be the Cardinals.
I mean, when you have Flaherty Wainwright, that guy is just won't go away. They have decent pitching. They have decent bullpen, and they do have some sticks in that lineup. It's going to come down, I think, to the Cubs and the Cards. The Brewers just do not have the offense, I think, to hold this up. I think their pitching will keep them in it and keep them in as being part of like the 3-team race. The Reds, I don't think, have the pitching. Their offense has always been there. The Cubs are just kind of average on all ends. Their offense is what's going to have to carry them, and they can't go back into the early season lulls where the offense doesn't hit. If that happens, this team is in big trouble because the starting pitching is not there. The bullpen is. I think our bullpen is top notch, but I don't think our rotation is tough enough to be able to keep us in games where if our offense is struggling, we're gonna struggle. The Pirates, there's some good college teams. I bet you Vanderbilt with their rotation could beat the Pirates, possibly.
Yeah, and kind of looking at that, the Cubs and the Cardinals haven't even played each other yet this year.
Thank God.
And I'm kind of looking through, and it looks like July is going to be a big month.
Yeah, we'll probably pay him 12 times.
Yeah, let's see. 3,
We
6, 7.
play him this weekend, right? Like a 3-game
Yeah.
set.
Well, let's look forward. So we have Washington for a 4-game set tonight. We have Johnny Lester versus Elzalay. The Cubs are up. What are they up?
6-3.
6-3.
So hopefully we get a dub tonight. Game 2 is Patrick Corbin versus Davies. Corbin's a great pitcher, lefty. The Cubs have hit lefties pretty well this year, so hopefully they continue that. Game 3, Max Scherzer versus Arrieta. That's going to be a great matchup. Scherzer, always tough. Game 4, Joe Ross versus Trevor Williams. Again, I bet you Williams will go maybe like 2 innings, 3 innings, then it's going to be a bullpen game. Maybe they'll like piggyback him and Williams and Thompson together for that game. Hopefully we'll see Thompson in there early for that game. So hopefully we can get, the thing that we have to keep looking at, and we've said this over and over on our podcast, is just win the series. Yeah. Just win the series. We won the series against Detroit. Yes, it would have been great to get a sweep. Win the series, move on. Let's take this one, win tomorrow, win game 3 hopefully against Scherzer, and then 4 will be a toss-up with Williams. That'll lead us into the series this weekend against the Cardinals down in the most boring city ever, that is St. Louis.
That's terrible.
But it's a big series. This is going to be the first test where we get to see where we stack up with the Cardinals. Next time we play the Cardinals at Wrigley, I'm going to be at the game on Friday at Wrigley. So I'm super pumped and excited for that game. Hopefully they don't have to face Flaherty, and it's that we can actually put some runs on the board. So I'm taking my wife and kids to the Friday game at Wrigley. So excited for that. But yeah, this weekend down in St. Louis, it's gonna be a big game. All weekend series versus the Cardinals are big and fun. It's gonna be a test, and I hope this series we face Flaherty and Wainwright. We see how we stack up, can see how we hit them. But they're good. They got some good ballers.
What do you think? Like Wainwright's thrown like 2 million pitches since he's been a professional ball player. How old is this guy?
Wainwright?
That's a good question.
Is he going to be able to open up his own car door? Reach out, pull the handle up, and is he going to have any elbow left?
He got rocked pretty recently too, didn't he? I think against the Padres.
Yeah, he lost the game against the Padres. But like that lineup with the Cardinals, like they have some players. You have Arenado, they have Molina still around. You have Bader, Goldschmidt. Who's the one that guy? Tyler O'Neill. That's like jacked. He's like the Hulk out there. You have some guys that are good ball players. I know that Mike Mikolas. He's coming back. He's in the minors right now. He's coming back. He sat out all of last year from an injury. So Carlos Martinez, who I really dislike, he's on the DL currently right now for the Cardinals. But it's gonna be a good matchup. It's gonna be the first time we see Arenado in St. Louis uniform. Hopefully we can be on him and K him and sit him down so he doesn't hurt us. But yeah, it'll be fun.
Speaking of Arenado, the Cardinals are going to have to face the Cubs with their new third baseman as well. So,
yeah, Matt,
third baseman,
freaking Duffy,
right?
Do you know that as of tonight, Duffy has played more games at third base this year than Chris Bryant.
Really?
Yep.
I wondered if he wasn't getting there.
Chris Bryant has played more games in the outfield than he has in the infield this year.
I love KB's ability to play all around the diamond to keep that fantastic bat of Duffy, which, I mean, how much we can eat all the crow all year. I would love to kind of keep that going.
I mean, maybe this offseason we should find a guy that is super utility, that can play almost anywhere, a former MVP, a guy that can have really good contact, hits the fastball, good clubhouse guy. Oh man, that's
maybe
really tough to
maybe
find.
A former rookie of the year.
Maybe.
I don't want
Think
to
we can find that guy?
Maybe a Golden Spikes winner in college.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
wonder if he exists for them to pick up.
Yeah, that we're gonna have to look in the free. We're gonna have to dig deep into the free agency to see if we can find that guy. Yeah, that's how we feel. So extend the man, give him his money, pay the man, because he is good, and we love to see it. Cubs are currently still up 6-3. We got the sheriff, Andrew Chafin, in to get the 8th, and then we'll have Kimbrel coming in the 9th. Hopefully we can seal up this win for the Cubbies tonight. But yeah, let's keep winning the series.
Go ahead. Yep. Keep winning series. Random thing. Did you just see that broken bat play?
Yeah.
Okay. There have been a lot of broken bats with the wood flying out on the field in the last week. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, they're turning into weapons.
Right? They're the barrels are just flying all around. Who was it? Was it Tyler? Who was it that got hit with a barrel and got stabbed with one?
Tyler Colvin.
Third base. Yeah, Tyler Colvin. Every time I see that slow replay when they show the barrel just exploding and flying off onto the field, I always worry a little bit.
Okay, did you hear that Chafin's car got broken into?
Yeah, they stole his DeWalt tools.
Yeah, so the Cubs bleachers now made a huge sign in the outfield and hung it up that said "reserved parking, Firebirds only," and says that surveillance cameras will be on you at all time.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Don't mess with Chafin.
Do you see John Deere sent him a whole bunch of hats and stuff, including hats for his daughters?
Yep. Yeah, he's working with him because his logo he wants to make into a John Deere type of logo for his YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that does it for this episode 41 of the Dingers podcast. Keep staying positive, guys. We're right there. A couple little things change. We're going to go on a 9-10 winning streak and be right there in first place. So big things happening. I think that we'll win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 versus 3 out of 4 versus Washington. Go into Cincy and sweep them. Calling it sweep right now versus Cincy. So that does it for this week. Make sure that you are following us on Twitter, Dinger Cubs, at Dinger Cubs. Same with Instagram, at Dinger Cubs. Join our Facebook group. Go check out ShyCitySports.com. And you can find all of our podcasts everywhere where you can listen to podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Spreaker.
All those wonderful places.
Your mom's cell phone. Listen to it all. I don't know. My mom listens to us, so it's on her.
I was just going to say, I was you're...
Oh, yep. Great. I swore 3 times tonight, I think.
You better apologize right now, Jeffrey.
Put it in the swear jar.
Let me know the next time you go to Mitch. I'll give you a couple of quarters to put in the jar.
We should actually keep a jar on Jeff, and then you get to buy tickets for your mom.
and every time he swears, we have a soundbite that goes jingle, 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 change dropping into a jar.
I like it.
We'll work on it.
Try, Mr. Farmer. You don't think I know the sound of 2 dimes and a nickel going in the jelly jar?
All right, that does it for episode 41 of the Dingers podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, John Boy.